society which we're hurtling towards, and that's the next phase.
And that's
they're
already
looking at beyond where we are now.
And that's already happening. You know, we never shop at Walmart here at this office, but I said, hurry up and get me a TiVo so I can record things off TV here at the new office. And the guys went to Walmart without asking me. I don't micromanage them. And my guy called, and because he had a debt, not an unpaid check, but because he had a debt that he hadn't paid, now the credit scores tied in with Walmart and other big stores, they wouldn't let him use that company check because he had bad credit. So we're already going into that system where I see him carding 75-year-old men buying cigarettes or beer at the store now, and the corporations admit they're getting us ready to have to show ID to buy and sell, and they're going to have a new world and local sales tax that will also have a database of everything you buy, sell, and do in the name of administering the sales tax.
Yeah, and this is happening everywhere. I mean, in Britain, the Big Brother state is hurtling forward. And in terms of the economic situation here, I mean, it's not really reached the point that it's going to reach, as we were talking about earlier. But when I go around the shops, which I occasionally do, not very often, or you go into a pub or a restaurant or something, places are empty. Where I go, where they never were before. And so, we're on the brink of a massive economic situation here globally, and it's been deliberately engineered for the ends that we're talking about.
David, how do we get the word out to the people? And as you said, our credibility is soared because everything we predicted is now unfolding, unfortunately. I wish we were wrong. What are the most, because you're very effective at unlocking minds, in your educated opinion, your informed opinion from experience, how do we reach out to them and say, look, it's now here. We're not warning you about something coming and all the preparatory phase that was bad enough setting up this tyrannical, dehumanizing, soul-stealing grid. We're now entering into the long slide into the depths of global mass extermination, population reduction, because we're not making even predictions. We're following their own documents. We know where it goes. Can the public face the horror of what's going to happen if they keep living in la-la land?
Well, what I say to people is, if you think you don't like the situation now, then think what you're going to face a little way down the road, and more than anything, think of what your children are going to have to face. Because you think that we live in a controlled society now, this is nothing compared with what they are going to have to live in. So in terms of parents who are listening to this information, I would say this: go and look your children in the eyes and tell them that you can't be bothered, or you're too frightened to do anything about it, that you're too frightened to get involved, in being another conduit for getting this information further and further expanded into the public mind, that you're too frightened to get together with others to stop cooperating with this system, and to not be intimidated into coming into line, which is a bit like coming into line in a concentration camp and thinking it will be okay. As long as you stay in line and you do as you're told, you'll be fine. And then you realize at the end of it, well, actually, it ain't fine. And if you'd have all rebelled earlier, then you wouldn't be in the situation you're facing now. The point of mathematics alone ought to let us see where the real power is here. There are billions of people, 6 billion, nearly getting on for 7 billion on this planet, who are being manipulated. There are, in full knowledge of what they're doing, a relative handful of those who are doing the manipulating to the end that we're talking about. Because of the compartmentalized pyramids that they've constructed within all these institutions of government and finance and corporations, the vast majority of people who are daily making contributions to push the world in this towards this Orwellian global state have no idea that they're doing that, because they don't know how their contributions fit in with everyone else's. Only the few at the top do. And what we need to start doing is realizing that we've reached the fork in the road, and if we keep going the way we're going, and we keep putting our heads in the sand, because you can put your head in a bucket of sand when a tornado's coming, but it's still coming, and your bum is still in the air, and it's still coming, and you're going to get it eventually, even though you've ignored the fact that you have up to the point where you get hit. If you lift your head from the sand and you look and face the situation, a tornado's coming, you can now take action to avoid the consequences.
Exactly.
And that's where we're looking at now. And we need to grow up, start being adults, look at the future our children are going to have unless we do something, and get off the backsides, disconnect them from the sofa, and let's get this sorted.
Well, absolutely. We're going to go to break and come back and get more into this mass awakening. People, and I want to get your take on this after the break, David. People love to say, oh, look at those stupid Jews or those stupid gypsies or those stupid Anglicans who didn't like Hitler, and they just went on trains and they went to camps and they stripped down naked and they got run into pits and gunned down. Why didn't they fight back? And we see those Nazi film footage of that. When that was done incrementally, we're going to come back and get your analysis on this. That was done incrementally. They were slowly trained that to live in ghettos and then to wear yellow stars or pink triangles or whatever the case was. They were slowly trained by incremental steps to put up with more and more until, well, now we're taking you here to a camp to be safe because the public's beating you up and smashing your store windows. And, now just take your clothes off over here. We're going to take care of you. And then they would line up and see the people being shot in front of them, but they would still just run into the pit obediently to their deaths. That is mind control. That is incremental conditioning. And we're going into the same thing as the ambient tyranny is turned up. We have to learn to recognize that, to stop it now and break our conditioning. Stay with us with David Icke.
About a lucky man who made the grade.
If you don't think the global architects running the Western world and the planet won't kill you, won't enslave you, won't rob your pension funds blind, it's happening. Just yesterday, I saw several mainstream news articles admitting that British SAS trained Pol Pot's people to kill between 3 and 4 million. Why did they do this? We'll talk more about that with David Icke. David, I went into the mass mind control of people in Nazi Germany, the Soviet Union, over and over again who will just march in and be mowed down and killed. Why did the founders of this country, why would they not go along with that? Why did they fight back? What's the difference? How do we get people to psychologically realize how they're being trained to have this learned helplessness where they just lay down to the men in black uniforms?
Well, when you're talking about mass mind control, we can't go any further than Barack Obama, because America has just had visited upon it a massive mass mind control operation to get him to power and to build his ludicrous myth of a personality and an image that so many people have bought. And I don't know about you, Alex, but I tell you, I've shaken my head a few times in the last few months when I've seen people who I thought had got it to an extent, who have bought the Obama myth as if somehow here out of nowhere is a change to the system as it works in terms of creating presidents.
Well, to answer your question, what I think of it, they know things are bad and they want to believe a fairy tale. They want to think the nightmare is over. It's exactly because they are somewhat awake that they're so afraid now at the reality that they are grasping at straws, seeing things, mirages in the desert. A man dying of thirst will, see huge lakes of cool, clean water to go drink, and will even go crazy and think he's drinking water when he's throwing sand into his mouth. And you've written a great analysis breaking down the mass mind control, the real programs of Barack Obama. We link to it at Infowars.com, to DavidIcke.com. What's the article? The Emperor with No Clothes?
It's Barack Obama, the Naked Emperor. You've introduced a very, very important point, Alex, in terms of mass mind control. It's the principle of the target wanting it to be true. And in many ways, the worse it gets, the more people can be enticed into following someone who's telling them what they want to be true. I mean, if you take what happened in Nazi Germany and those other examples you gave, at each point, people don't want to face the fact of the situation they're in. So they will believe when someone tells them, no, it's not that. Just do it for this reason. They want that to be true, and that's the most powerful form of control. And you're absolutely right. What's happened with Barack Obama? See, this whole technique of problem, reaction, solution, we're now seeing in America and indeed globally because of Obama's global influence. I mean, I was in Africa recently, a few weeks ago. I mean, crikey, he's a god there. I guess you can understand why. But if they knew that the agenda they have for Africa, the people behind Obama, then